Alright guys, today I'll be reviewing Big Bear Mountain. This is the perfect family coaster. This is better than most thrill coasters that exist, and I'll explain why in this review. So your experience with this ride really starts off once you enter Wildwood Grove, and this ride absolutely dominates Wildwood Grove. I've only been to Dollywood in 2023 and 2024, so I don't know what Wildwood Grove would look like without Big Bear Mountain, at least in person, but yeah, it looks incredible with Big Bear Mountain. I could definitely see how it could sort of feel empty without Big Bear Mountain, but this ride connects the entire land. Every inch of this ride looks phenomenal. You can hear the bear roaring when you're walking on the pathways. You see the waterfall and the rock work. I should do a full analysis of Wildwood Grove at some point, but oh my god. Big Bear Mountain is such a stunning ride to look at, one of the best looking coasters out there. I love the color scheme too, and at night this thing looks incredible as well. So you're eventually going to get up to the entrance, and depending on the day you're either going to find a massive wait or not really a huge wait at all, because there were times where it was the middle of the day during my past visit where I only waited 10 minutes. On my extremely busy day in 2023, I only got one ride on it, which was a 15-minute wait first thing in the morning. However, I was able to get 4 rides on this time around in 2024, given it was a lot less crowded. And I was on second train of the day, despite being in the middle of Running of the Bulls. And I got 3 more rides on it later with about a 10-minute wait each. However, I will say you will be entertained if you do have to wait in a pretty lengthy queue. There's signs and posters all over the place, and of course you get the coaster overhead. You can see it running, you can hear it, hear the soundtrack and everything. And I'll definitely talk a lot more about the on-ride theming later, but first you gotta pick your row. And honestly, there's not a bad row on this ride at all. I'd personally say go front row, but back row's about equally as good. Obviously, you want one of the extremes. Don't go for the middle if you have the choice. They do assign rows, but they do take row requests, so definitely do that if you want. The front and the back definitely have a little more oomph on some of those elements, but they're different elements, so I definitely try both if you can. I would also recommend sitting on the unload side if you only have one ride, because a few of those elements definitely hit harder on that side, but I would try both because there's definitely one moment that stands out on the load side. So you're going to sit in these trains and pull down your extremely good restraints. I mean, these are some of the best in the industry. There's absolutely no way you can feel pain with these restraints, and if you do, then well, you got bigger problems than watching this video. These are extremely minimalistic restraints. They almost feel like T-bars, but they're not T-bars. But I'd say they're even more comfortable than the Intamin T-bars. These are just some of the finest in the industry. The ops on this ride are also very efficient. They'll check the trains quickly. They don't staple. So definitely good job to you guys. And there are loose article bins on the side. So don't worry, you could put anything to the side there. That's the case for everything at Dollywood. So now that you're all set to go, you're going to launch out of that station right away. You don't even pull up. You just gun it out of there. And this first launch is actually very punchy. It's shocking how good this is for how slow it is. You definitely feel a good gut punch. And this is when the onboard audio kicks in too. I think this might be the best onboard audio on any coaster. Yes, I think this might even be better than the onboard audio on Ride to Happiness. Of course, I haven't experienced that, and I'm sure the ride itself is leagues ahead of this. But in terms of how much the onboard audio complements a ride, I don't think any of them do it better than this. And I'm going to make a lot of comparisons to Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, because a lot of people claim that's the best family coaster in the world. And I am not under that impression one bit. In fact, it's probably not even a top 10 family coaster for me if I'm being real. And one of the reasons for that is the onboard audio on that ride. I feel like that onboard audio actually holds the ride back. It just feels like they're trying to shoehorn as many cheap Harry Potter references as possible. I like the movies, but I don't like them that much. And it just feels uncohesive. Doesn't feel like it has any sort of rhyme or reason to it, but this onboard audio is peak, alright? You've got Ned Oakley sounding like a park ranger over here, and he just tells you to go find Big Bear, and there's all these weird references to bears. He's like, bear left, no, bear right, and he just says at the end of the ride, did you find Big Bear? And the whole theme with this ride is going out to find Big Bear, and this onboard audio executes that perfectly. The music itself is really good too, you're hearing it right now, so definitely good job on that. You're going to hit a left-hand turn, getting thrown to the left a little bit, and then you hit the second launch. This one's really good. Again, you get another little gut punch, getting thrown back into your seat. It's pretty sustained, and I'd say a lot of moments on this ride are surprisingly good. After that second launch, you'll hit a little step up, giving a little pop of airtime in the front. Then you'll hit another airtime moment, get a little floater everywhere in the train, and then you hit one of the best parts of the ride, and that's this first wave turn. If you're on that unload side, you're going to get some good floater airtime on this, combined with some laterals, and that's another big thing about this ride. Pretty much every moment on this ride throws you to the side in some way. It's obviously not going to be Skyrush or Maverick or Project 305, but it does kind of fold you over, especially on these wave turns. Watch out for these, because these are some sneakily good elements. You definitely get a nice floater pop, and you feel your body sort of falling out of the train to the right, especially if you're on that unload side. You'll then hit the only part of the ride that's actually better on the load side, and that is this dive into the cave. And you get a little airtime pop, especially in the back on this, and then you fly through the cave. It's a great near miss. It looks stunning, and if you reach your hand out, and you don't even really have to reach your hand out, but especially if you reach your hand out, you're going to feel the water spraying on you if you're on that load side. On the unload, you might get a little mist, but not really. So that's definitely a cool feature. And then coming out of that rock work, you hit a little speed bump, getting a really weak pop of airtime. You'll turn up to the left, and you'll hit a sequence of about 5 twisted hills, all giving weak floater, combined with some okay laterals. Usually, I would not be a fan of this, but there's just something about how Big Bear executes it. I think it's a combination of the onboard audio and also just being immersed in Wildwood Grove. I know there's not that much theming going on during the ride at this moment in time, but oh my god, Wildwood Grove is perfect as a land. I should do a full video going in depth about why Wildwood Grove is better than any Disney or Universal land, but anyways, that's a whole nother topic. You hit a little step up going into the next launch, which gives a little pop of floater in the front, and then you hit that final launch, and this is the best one. It's about as sustained as before, but it has even more kick. Honestly, this might be on par with like Velocicoaster's first launch. It's that good, it's that surprising. You'll then rise up into this big hill, getting some pretty good airtime in the back row, especially on that unload side. It's almost ejector, it's pretty strong there. And then you hit another step down, getting another good pop of airtime in the back especially. And then you hit probably the best moment on the ride, and that is this next wave turn. I'd still say it's floater. It's a bit stronger up front, but wow, anywhere in the train, this thing will absolutely throw you. You get thrown to the side, and you get a good pop of floater too. This feels like a bit of a stronger version of that one at the start of the ride. You'll hit another S-hill, and that's a pretty rapid-fire moment. You're just coming out of that wave turn. You're still thrown over to the left, and then before you know it, you're getting thrown to the right. It's a weak moment of airtime anywhere in the train, nothing too special, but the laterals in this section are very underrated. And then in the front, you're going to get another good floater pop going up into this next step up. In the back, you barely get anything, but it's fine. You'll hit another left-hand turn, going into a twisted triple down. And in the back and in the front, this gives some pretty good airtime. It's a little better in the back, but you're still going to get some floater up front and a little stronger floater in the back. And you do get a little bit of laterals here. Definitely nothing like you just experienced, but still pretty solid. And then you'll hit a little snap, turning you from the left to the right. And obviously, again, this isn't Maverick or Project 305, but you definitely feel the laterals. You feel yourself sort of folding over. And all that combined with the onboard audio and just the nature around you, it's a very nice looking area that this ride's in. All that combined just makes this moment pretty good. And then you turn up and you hit one last drop down into the cave. It's really just a bridge, but you still hear Big Bear roar. You get a little floater pop in the back. It's pretty good. It's definitely stronger than in the front. And then you get one last good pop of floater if you're in the front going into the brakes. And that is your ride on Big Bear Mountain. Definitely the best family coaster on the planet. Now, if you guys know me, you know I definitely like rides that are rougher and try to kill you a bit more. Definitely have some jank in them. This ride doesn't have any of that. In fact, this is the smoothest ride I have ever been on. Not a hint of any sort of rattle. And normally I'd say that's a bad thing. And I do think it would have been cool if it sort of had like an off-road adventure type feel where you're sort of getting thrown around and it was a bit rough. But I don't care. There's something special about just how smooth this ride is. It feels like you're almost flying rather than riding a coaster. This ride's just so smooth that it feels different from anything else. Of course, this ride isn't a top 10 coaster for me or anything, because it's just not thrilling enough, but it executes floater airtime and good but not great laterals about as well as you can, because this is supposed to be a family coaster, and they knocked it out of the park. This is exactly what the 4-year-old future enthusiasts of today should be riding. So for Big Bear Mountain's final score, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, and no, that is not a grade compared to other family coasters. That is a grade compared to all other coasters I have ridden. This ride confuses me because it doesn't seem like something that someone like me should love, but man, this thing is just such a pure fun ride. And I have this over rides like the Beast, Twisted Cyclone, and even Fury 325. This has similar forces to Fury, both in terms of positives and airtime and all that. However, I just think this ride's more fun. I love everything about what Dollywood did with this. It truly is something special. So let me know what you guys think of Big Bear Mountain down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.